Um. Yeah. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. All right, bet.
Wait. Let me.
Hey
Let me
guys,
double check.
what's up? Hey,
Just
hey
go.
guys, welcome to the uh, Superhero Cuts Podcast, where we talk all things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. This is boy Stevie Hayes, joined by Comic Cuts. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, bro. Good. Feeling good. Just got back from church. I'm a little tired, but I'm ready to go today because we have a lot of things that we're going to talk about. So obviously, first we're going to talk about Loki, season 2, episode 2, because that is obviously like the number one thing that's happening. And guys, I know I read the book about the whole MCU reigns, all the rumors that came from Kevin Feige. We will address some of that today, but yes. So don't worry, guys. We're going to bring it up, but. Right now, we are going to talk about Loki episode 2. So, how'd you like Loki episode 2?
I thought it was great. Love that we're getting into the timeline. Love that they're starting to talk more about Kang and He Who Remains. I thought it was great. And how about you? What did you think of it?
I loved it, bro. I was very happy with what we got. I do have a lot of questions about Kang the Conqueror now, in regards to what they're going to do, and I have a few things I wanted to bring up to you. But as in episode 2, I thought it was a good. I thought it was a good second episode. Didn't feel like filler. Now, there's not a lot of fighting, but that doesn't really like action beats for me. Doesn't make a project good. I really like what's happening. I love the multiversal stuff, and I have a lot of questions in regards to just the episode in regards to Kang. What's the difference between bombing the sacred timeline and pruning it? Okay. Okay, so when you prune a timeline, right? Everything that is pruned goes to a void and it stays there. Okay? And
It's isolated.
you technically have a chance in the void to stay alive. When you bomb a timeline, the timeline is completely destroyed forever. And the people in that timeline cease to exist. That is the difference between pruning and bombing. But yeah, so here's some questions. Here's some things realizations that I'm making up about Kang. Okay, the first thing is that will Loki turn on Sylvie for Kang the Conqueror in this season?
It's. I hope he does. I don't know whether he will or he won't. I think it's anyone's guess because, obviously in the first one, he took a great risk in, giving her the choice at the end, even though he was against what he knew or felt that she was going to choose. And it obviously is kind of what brought him into the mess that began season 2. And I think that it's clear that Sylvie doesn't even really care. And I think it's hard for him to see Sylvie for who she really is, where she really stands, because he's so in love with her and probably to some extent thinks that the way he thinks is the way she thinks because she is technically him.
I agree. I believe that Loki is going to turn on Sylvie because I believe that Loki is thinking of things now in the greater good of the multiverse rather than just her. I think he wants to save her. That's why he's kind of on her so much. But I feel like he's thinking from a different mindset. What do you say? Kang's variants are messing with time and creating branch timelines. Yes, I agree. I 100% agree with that. So what I am thinking is that what is happening is to open up that time. Don't you know that door that needs to be opened up? Don't you know how Mobius? Remember when Mobius shot that gun right into the freaking time
in the beginning
into the time stream, and it went to so Loki could basically pull himself out of whatever timeline he was in. What's up, chicks? Basically, they need to open up that door, and I believe that Kang is the only person that's what they said, that Kang the Conqueror is the only person that can open up that line. What I believe is that they're going to go to Victor Timely. I think Victor Townley is disguising himself as maybe the main Kang the Conqueror. Now, my time to shine, hello, and we can talk about this now. Now, the person who works on Loki, the season 2, episode 2 director Dan DeLillo, he said, I don't know that we've seen the definitive Kang yet. In terms of what I would envision the definitive Kang to be, I think there's still someone yet to come out of the shadows. Now, my time to shine, hello, quoted that and said that it is the Beyonder. Now, you and I have talked before about a Beyonder, Kang the Conqueror, who is basically the most powerful being in the MCU that we're going to see come so far. Really, out of all of the Marvel universes. How do you feel about the Beyonder Kang?
I think it's a fire idea. I think they need to bring the Beyonder into it, especially, with Secret Wars, lack of characters going into the story. With Secret Wars, Beyonder can help make up for that. And I also think it's possible that we see the definitive Kang, that is the Beyonder Kang, at the end of Loki season 2. And you have to remember that when we watched Loki season 1, it was at the end of Loki season 1 that we realized we were getting Kang, number one. It was Loki season 1 when people started to believe that we were getting a Secret Wars. So I do think that Marvel is going to pull out some pretty, big tricks out of their sleeve as we get to the end. I don't think that a lot of the questions are going to be answered in the meantime. I think, if anything, we're going to have more questions and be confused even more so. That's how Marvel tends to play it with these, Disney Plus shows. So, I know for me, I made a mistake going into, episode 1 and episode 2, thinking okay, we're going to be less confused, but that's not the case. And I realized it's never been the case. I'm not falling for these tricks anymore. I'm still obviously falling for the Marvel show. I'm going to watch the whole thing because I'm loving it. But I don't think that we're going to have a clear answer till the very end. And I think it's possible that the Beyonder Kang is revealed in the finale.
Would you be hyped if we saw the Beyonder Kang?
Absolutely. And I think they need to do that if that's the case, because they need to. This show has to hype people into the Marvels. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear that because a lot of people are stoked on Loki, not stoked on the Marvels. But this show has to hype people up for the Marvels, and the Marvels needs to bring it too. Whether I think the Marvels will bring it, I don't know how much we're going to get out of the incursion wall. I hope it's not, being overplayed in the trailer for what it really is. But I do think that we're going to get something really big at the end of Loki season 2. And I think it's going to be, Beyonder Kang, which would be fire. And by the way, for those of you that don't read comics and prefer to have us, do that dirty work and, give you some details, big spoiler for Ultimate Invasion if you want to read it and haven't read it yet. But in that new book that just came out, Iron Man becomes Kang. And there's also an Iron Lad, which is a younger version of Kang. And then there's Victor Timely, then there's Ramatut, and Kang is everywhere. There's so many different iterations of Kang. I don't think there's ever been a Beyonder Kang, but I wouldn't put it past the MCU to, make it a first. And I think that's what's also really cool about the MCU is for guys like us who do read, all the comics and are so well versed on this kind of stuff, there's still surprises in it for the diehards who've read everything. And I appreciate that because, obviously we're the diehard fans that want surprises. And,
100%, brother. 100%. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think Beyonder Kang is the way to go. Now let's read some chats real quick. The Kang variants are the reason why the multiverse is going to end, and those are the Council of Kangs who seem to control or manipulate the entire multiverse. I don't believe that that's going to be the reason why the multiverse ends. I think
Agree.
I believe that Yeah, I believe it's going to have something to do with all of the Marvel characters being in the same universe. I think it's going to create some type of time warp slash incursion that's going to happen. And we'll get into my theory in a second because the next topic is linked to this whole King Dynasty Secret Wars thing. All right, Hungry Almighty. Let's see what he says. What's up, bro? How you doing? By the way, if true, my theory is Phase 1 Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk films do popularity, and they are films do popularity, and they played for the right of Wolverine and Hulk, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Avengers, Cap, Iron Man, and Thor don't need Solo. Okay, so you're saying that Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk films need Solo. So you're saying Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk need to be the main center of the new MCU? Is that what you're saying? Because if so, I wouldn't fully agree with that. But I do think they need to be one of the centers of the new MCU. But we're going to talk about that in the next topic really fast. Let's hear what he says. There's this theory going on that the reboot is going to take inspiration from the new Ultimate Universe comics announced Spider-Man, Avengers, X-Men, and Black Panther. And that's what we're going to talk about next. Oh my gosh, can't wait to get this topic. Do you think Kang turns into Victor Timely or that's just his variant? I believe that is I don't think that is a Kang from Ant-Man. I do not think that is so because technically I don't know where I don't know where that Kang is, but he's still alive. But no, I believe this is one of the Council of Kangs that is faking as Victor Timely. That's what I believe.
Yeah, and I think that the Kang that's faking as Victor Timely is doing so to hide. I think he's doing it to hide. I think he went into the past and kind of reinvented himself because he didn't think people would look there. By the way, I want to say something about the Hulk piece. Can we get into that real quick?
We do have a Hulk topic coming up. How deep are you going?
I'll save it.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a whole Hulk rant that I want to go on, so we can save it.
Oh yeah, let's save it.
Yeah. Well, all in all, Loki season 2, we're excited. Can't wait for it to drop tomorrow. Breakdowns scene by scene every Friday, and we talk about it on the podcast, obviously, because it's a show that's going on. And so far, we love it. Great 2 episodes. All right, now let's get into the real stuff, okay? Okay. First, we're going to talk about some of the MCU downfalls. We're going to talk about Tony and Steve. We're going to talk about some of the comments that you just made, Hungry Almighty, regarding the new universe. What do you say? I meant Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk are the only ones that require slow films, not the center of the piece. Okay, Cap, Iron Man, Thor. Okay, now let's get into this. Okay, so there was a book that came out. It's called MCU: The Reign of Marvel Studios. I audio booked it, and I read it, so I have a lot of thoughts on what was said. This woman basically interviewed a bunch of people that worked with Marvel, that work at Marvel, and basically collected a bunch of information about the past, present, and the future. One of the things that she said, and I'm going to read the quote verbatim. I have it right here. Hold on. I have her quote about, so just to give you guys a soft launch, basically the author talked about Kevin Feige basically hinted to the idea that Tony and Steve are going to come back, and not just come back for Secret Wars, that they're going to be back for good. So I'm going to read this quote to you guys. It says this: we have a quote from Kevin Feige sort of implying Secret Wars will serve as a soft reboot in which they can prune everything. This is not, to use a Lokiism, prune everything that is not working and just keep everything that is working, or bring back people you thought was going forever. So with that quote, right, Kevin Feige is basically hinting us that he is considering bringing back some of our old characters. And I believe that if he does that, I do believe that there are going to be variants of, the original characters that there are. Like, for example, in the comics, I mean, Captain America is more of an angry old man. I mean, that's kind of the way he is, right? They might incorporate that into Chris Evans' character. And maybe for Iron Man, they might go maybe more of a superior Iron Man. Like, I don't know what version of Iron Man that they're going to go with, but it could be a different version of the character. So, yeah, that's one thing. A chat just came through. I want to read that real quick. What do you say? Okay, Dragon Trainer, we'll touch on that in a second. I meant that Spider-Man. Okay, and so basically the theory that's going around regarding this whole new universe with bringing back RDJ and Chris Evans and ScarJo is that after Secret Wars, they're just going to put a bunch of Marvel characters on one Earth. So we're going to get the new X-Men, the new Fantastic Four, and bring back and put Iron Man and Cap and Black Widow and Hawkeye and all these characters. The plan is to put them on this new Earth and start over. basically with their, and that would be kind of the soft reboot. So starting with some of the original characters, but really like focusing on characters like the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and those type of characters, and then we will finally get to see like our Captain America and our Iron Man get to interact with all of these characters. How do you feel about that, Kamikaze?
I like it. I could see a lot of people being apprehensive about it, but listen, Iron Man is bar none the best character in the MCU. Period. No question, no debating. Iron Man is number one. The whole thing was built on Iron Man. I love Spider-Man too, but the MCU was wildly successful before Spider-Man came around. Captain America is debatedly number 2 or number 3, depending on where you put Spider-Man or Captain America, but no one's going to tell me that Iron Man isn't number 1, even if he's not your favorite. Now, having said that, I also think if they bring back Tony and Steve, similar to what you were saying before, Stevie, like they could have more fun with it and do more experimental stuff. I don't think they're going to do the, I know there's like a poster that always goes viral of Captain America 4, where he, puts the rings back. I forget what the fan poster calls it, but, I don't think they would go a superior Iron Man route. I mean, maybe for like half a movie, but I don't think they would want to make him a villain like that. But I think it would be cool to bring him back. Like, listen, the MCU has not been the same since they left, and that, until we see Fantastic Four there, and even if Fantastic Four comes out and it's a 10 out of 10 and it's an absolute banger and all the castings are great, like, it's still not going to be Iron Man and Captain America, And I love the Fantastic Four, but they're not Iron Man. So I think that that's important. And I know, like I said, a lot of people would be apprehensive about it because they had like the perfect ending, and I get that. But after enough time, why not? And if not, I think you got to reboot the whole thing. If they don't do something like that, I think you got to reboot the whole thing. But that's the other thing that's interesting about reboot talk, because a lot of people are talking about a reboot and, they want to see a reboot or they don't want to see a reboot. Here's the other thing that people miss when the reboot talks come about. Tom Holland is still very young. I think he signed on to do like 6 more Spider-Man solo movies. So 6 movies, that's a long, long time. For context, we only have 4 Avengers movies total. And we've gotten 4 Avengers movies since the MCU started in 2008. It's 2023. That is 15 years. So if they are planning on doing a reboot, it's very likely a soft reboot, because they're not planning on doing a reboot and scrapping Tom Holland's Spider-Man if he signed on for 6 more. And even if he isn't signed on for 6 more, I don't think they want to get rid of Tom Holland. I think it would be stupid to get rid of Tom Holland. I think Tom Holland is the best thing the MCU has going for them right now. And that kid is a superstar. And when all is said and done in his career, he's going to go down as one of the biggest actors, of all time.
Yeah, Tom Holland's a stud.
Yeah. And by the way, I also don't think that they are planning on hiring a Fantastic Four cast to scrap them after one Fantastic Four movie. So I think
that's why it's called a soft. That's why it's called a soft, because they're going to keep the ones that stick and the other ones kind of just, right. Like Ironheart wouldn't be in the reboot. You know what I mean?
And that's where I was going. Like, why are we doing Agatha, Ironheart, and Echo if they're doing a reboot? Like, no one cares to see these characters in the reboot. People don't care to see them now. So it's just stupid. And that's the other thing you got to think about too. There's a lot of mixed signals if there's a soft reboot. So it's anyone's guess to what's to come.
Yep. All right, now let's get through some of these chats real quick, because we got a lot of chats.
Yeah.
By the way, we're so happy that you guys are active in the chat. This is something that
we love it.
Kamikaze and I have hope for So we're happy that we got all these comments. All right, let's see. Do you think King? I think we already talked about that. All right. Could an incursion happen on a branching timeline? I'm not sure because an incursion is when two different Earths are By the way, an incursion's happening right behind comic cuts, but
yeah, this is
the meaning is right there. Can you just go over it?
Yeah,
It says a collision of worlds that is a collision of worlds that is the harbinger of the death of the universe. So basically, an incursion is when basically the multiverse is going so crazy that two planets are colliding into each other, and one has to go. That is an incursion.
Yeah. So I gotta get the screenshot. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram story.
Yeah, Comic Cuts Comic Cuts made a video about incursion, so I will plug.
I'm gonna do another one.
Bet.
But here's the thing. So for an incursion, I'll actually read it because I have it somewhere right here. And this is in what's his name's voice. Reed Richards. Just give me a sec. Sorry.
Yep. Yeah. So let me go to the next question while he's trying to find it. That would make sense since the perception of the MCU right now isn't good. They could use the reboot to also bring the new T'Challa and start over with the new Fantastic Four and X-Men characters. I 100% agree. This would be because right now our T'Challa is super young. This will be the perfect chance to give him time to grow up and become the actual T'Challa, Black Panther. I'll be really excited to see that. So, hey, you have it up?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
As I stated earlier, the time when two Earths begin to collide is called an incursion, and every single one is exactly the same. Before they begin, there is a very short time period of harmonic alignment, which is what allows the two Earths to exist in the same space. The single bit of good news here is that we should be able to detect this and therefore create an early warning system so at least we'll know when one is coming. Regardless, once the incursion actually begins, our time to act grows very short, as each incursion lasts exactly 8 hours. At the end of those 8 hours, what follows is extremely simple. Either both worlds are destroyed along with their respective universes as they smash together, or on one Earth, where one Earth is destroyed, which eliminates the incursion point between the two universes, sparing them both. 8 hours, one event, two possible outcomes. Now, the rest is irrelevant to our conversation, but you get the point.
Good stuff. So that's an incursion, just a collision of two Earths. I agree. So, that makes sense. All right, let's see the next comment. Iron Man and Captain America could return, but as variants, because if there was a way to bring them back to life, that would be awesome. Yes, they shouldn't have left in the first place. Comic Con talk about it all the time. Either one of them should have stayed, or none of them should have left. We already Scarlett Johansson died, and I was totally fine with that. But you don't take away your key players like that. You should have let them get through the battle.
I also don't think it was entirely Feige's choice. I think that at the very least, Robert Downey Jr. wanted out. I think Chris Evans was on the fence about it. And I also think that they, Disney saw Marvel as this really successful property. They were really successful in building this expanded universe. And they paid Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans much more than the characters that came in later. And they were like, listen, thanks for, doing a great job. This is a good time to part ways. And I think it was all mutually agreed. I think the stars kind of align in that way, but I don't think it was ultimately Feige's choice.
Yeah, I could imagine. I also think it has something to do with a lot of their projects haven't been hitting. Other than Knives Out for Chris Evans and Oppenheimer for RDJ, where they both weren't the main characters in the story. They were side characters. So,
yeah.
I think that this will be a perfect time to bring them back. And money talks at the end of the day. Okay. Maybe even Red Hawk, because it's not a secret people don't like this version of the Hawk that's there. I'm going to save this for Hawk, but there's some hope for him. Don't think that Kevin Feige is just going to let Professor Hawk rock out forever. Kevin Feige has some hopes for the Hawk. Okay. Hungry Almighty. As much as I love Chris Evans, Cap, and RDJ Iron Man, the reboot needs new actors to play the characters. Chris and RDJ had their time and perfect ending. Let's give someone else the opportunity. Comic Cuts. You have a response to that?
Listen, as much as I would love to see both of them come back, it's a fair perspective. I think they're both older. I think it would be cool to give the role to newer people. Like I always say, there are a lot of young actors that are wildly talented, and we have no idea who they are. There's no reason that I think Marvel couldn't find two people to successfully fill the roles. But here's the other thing. The problem is if it's the same MCU universe that exists and those characters are recasted, I just think that they're going to be compared so harshly to RDJ and Chris Evans, and I think those actors are kind of doomed, even if they do an amazing job. But that's the way the business works. If they want to bring it back, I'm not against recasting. I mean, I even say recast T'Challa, Black Panther. So I'm definitely not against a recast. And if they did it, I would be optimistic about it.
Same here. Now I think right now where the MCU is, you don't recast only because like the fans are just so harsh right now, and they also and rightfully so. Marvel hasn't put out the best content, so I think to be safe, I would bring back RDJ and Chris Evans to get the new universe started. That's what I would do. I wouldn't recast at the moment. You gotta play it safe right now because it takes one mess up for them to become DC. You know what I mean? To where they start tanking, because the Marvels is going to tank. That's the reality, and so you kind of got to rock with what's going to work.
By the way, I also think that the MCU is going to stand strong on Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and also, in the comics, Spider-Man does join the Fantastic Four, and they end up calling it the FF, standing for Future Foundation. Actually written by the same writer who wrote The Ultimate Invasion. He wrote Secret Wars, and he's doing Gods, which I talked about last week. He's incredible. He's not arguably, he's one of the greatest comic writers of all time. His name's Jonathan Hickman. I'm always hyping him up. But if you haven't read his Fantastic Four run, definitely check it out. I wouldn't just skip to the Future Foundation portion of it. But the Future Foundation portion of it is really cool. Spider-Man does join the Fantastic Four. And if you played Spider-Man, the PS4 game, you may have noticed that the Future Foundation suit was in the game.
With the bag on his head. I hate that suit.
No, that's a different one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's white, and he's got like the
white one. The white guys.
One. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. I mean, I think that they shouldn't recast. Next question: do you think the MCU needs a reboot? Heck yes, they do.
Not right now.
Not today, but in the future, yeah.
Yeah, in the future. Listen, here's the other thing too. Say Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty land, and they're amazing. No one's going to be talking about a reboot at that point.
But there's still going to be a reboot though, because the X-Men can't. There's no way you could make the X-Men coexist in the same universe that we have right now without making it look dumb. The only way is to reboot it. That's been the plan, but that's been the plan since forever. Like Kevin Feige has always had the plan that Secret Wars was going to be the reboot.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I also think they could get away with doing a Krakoa. They did it with Eternals.
What you mean? Like they've been here all along? Oh, if they do that with X-Men, I'll riot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and they've been on Krakoa.
That's so whack. I'm cool off of that. That would be so. Oh my god, that would be so corny. Okay.
I just don't want to. I'd rather it not be a reboot. That's why.
I feel you. It's soft reboot, bro. Soft reboot. It's different from a straight reboot. It's not like a DCU reboot.
I know, but I prefer no reboot. Like
a soft reboot was like James Gunn taking Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot and then recasting everyone else. That would be like a soft reboot.
I just don't. The reason I don't like the reboot idea is because I love this universe and I don't want to be in a universe that's separate from this one. Like I would prefer it to be in the universe where all these epic stories have taken place.
You might get your wish, bro. You might not. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Okay. My Time to Shine Hello said that we are going to get a new T'Challa in the new universe. Pray to God this is true. I'm praying to God as well. I think we're going to get a new T'Challa before Secret Wars.
Yeah, I do too.
Not sure he should stay as the new Black Panther because of new T'Challa. I'm not sure about, but if it's his son, then it'll be a different story.
Bro, not recasting T'Challa is one of the biggest mistakes that the MCU ever made. And I said that before the movie came out.
I don't think making Shuri the Black Panther for this movie was a mistake, but it was the way that they did it that
I liked the movie. I did. I liked the movie. I think a lot of people were too harsh on it, but they should have recasted T'Challa, and we really got robbed because that movie would have been 10 times better if it had the iconic T'Challa Namor rivalry.
Yeah, but you and I could both attest that if they plotted the movie better, you would have liked it a whole lot more. You and I both when we reviewed this movie, we both said how we hated the way Shuri got the actual heart shaker because she shouldn't have gotten it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And there's also a lot of and also Moon Knight hinted to the idea of us meeting the Black Panther goddess. We ended up seeing the Black Panther goddess and Thor: Love and Thunder, and then you don't make that a part of the plot because in the comic books, Shuri got denied the herb because her motivations weren't right, and she got the herb with the wrong motivations. That's my issue with the whole entire story. She should have gotten denied, and to me, it felt like Shuri didn't work for it. So yeah, I mean.
They wouldn't have had to do that story if they just had T'Challa, though. And T'Challa,
yes,
beef
but I'm saying
so sick.
I agree. That would have been probably the greatest thing of all time. But even if they didn't, bro, even if they didn't, if Shuri was done correctly, I don't think fans would have had a problem. And honestly, I would have made Shuri the Black Panther the first 30 minutes into the freaking movie. I think your mind would have changed if Shuri, because you can temporarily take the herb. If she temporarily took the herb and it was stated that she would, and she just had this movie to eat up, I'm not mad at that. Like that's because that's what would actually happen if the child died. I wouldn't have been against that if they were like, you know what, like we needed, like, bro, he died in production. Like you can't just switch it out like that.
Right. I don't know. They still changed a lot. Like, I don't know. I just think I always say I think that it was like we got robbed out of that storyline. We really did. And that should have been like a Winter Soldier level movie. And it still would have been if it was T'Challa no more.
Do you know what I would have done?
What?
I would have brought in Cap and Bucky to fight with Shuri.
Listen, I think that would have been dope. First of all, they couldn't have brought Cap in, number one, unless you're talking Sam Wilson.
Because this would have been a perfect opportunity to bring in Sam, number one, because they gave Sam the vibranium suit. He could have used that in the battle against Namor, and Bucky has a vibranium arm. Not to mention in Captain America: Brave New World, Sam gets the vibranium suit. I feel like you got to bring in characters like that for the movie to work. All right,
yeah, but you know why they never would have done that. They wanted to push Shuri, and Ironheart, and
So. They
wanted us, I think that would have been a much better move, though.
They wanted us to get used to these new characters, but I promise you that if Sam and Bucky were in the story, it saves a lot of it. I'm just saying, think about it, bro. From a writer's standpoint, you could have made the movie work without a recast. If you and I had to write this film, you and I could make it work without a recast.
Right.
Just for this movie, though. Just for this movie.
I want to Dragon Trainer. I disagree because Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, this one. So here's the thing. Iron Man died in Endgame. T'Challa didn't die in the story. They, so it's It's a
I think
false
he's talking.
equivalency.
I think he's talking about more of like the importance of the character. And I'll be real, bro. If RDJ died, they would have definitely recasted Iron Man. Just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Iron Man is too integral. For some reason, Chadwick Boseman didn't get recast, and I know why. Because they were right in production. They didn't have time to recast. I get it. I get it. But that did hurt the Black Panther brand. But to me, the pain is the movie's mid. Like I don't really think it's the fact that Shuri was Black Panther. That's my opinion. All right, we're gonna read a couple more comments and we're gonna get to the actual program. Look at this as a business at the end of the day. Black Panther almost 1.4 billion. Black Panther 2 800 something million. Let's face it, decrease is not due to T'Challa. I'm sorry to all Shuri fans. The 800 million decrease, it wasn't due. It wasn't due to no T'Challa. It was due to a not the best story. It was due to the story giving Shuri everything that she needed and not making her earn it. That was the issue. I promise you that if they did the story better, it wouldn't have been as bad. Like, and I'm not saying because the movie's not bad, but it wouldn't have been as criticized.
I don't think it has to do with any of that. I think that the first one became like a cultural moment, and the way the media was hyping it up, and the second one just didn't have that.
Yeah, well, plus because I mean, and this is what I'm gonna tell you guys: Black Panther 1 is a top 10 greatest superhero film of all time. So,
yeah,
let's be real. Let's be real. It is.
It's up there.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. I love that movie. All right. He's asking Dragon Trainer a question. I'm not gonna answer that. All right. Let's get to the next topic. Moon Knight season 2. So, the rumor is that Marvel Studios is developing Moon Knight season 2. Me personally, I'm excited. I love Moon Knight season 1. There's a lot that was going on in regards to just who did he fight against? I forget because the freaking show so long ago.
What's his name?
It's so sad that I don't even remember who the villain is because there's so much content going on here. But who's it?
Arthur Harrow.
Yeah, Arthur Harrow. Yes, who did amazing in that show. Who was one of the best? He was a great villain. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Now season 2, we need Rama Tut. Stop playing games. Rama Tut should have been in the freaking first season of Moon Knight, and that could have introduced us into King the Conqueror. Another opportunity that Marvel missed. Put Rama Tut in season 2. Put Bast in season 2, and connect Black Panther and King the Conqueror. Period. Point blank.
Moon Knight needs to show up in a movie. Like that's the other thing. We need to start seeing some of these newer characters elsewhere other than these Disney Plus shows.
I 100% agree. They need to be showing up and also other projects. But for Moon Knight season 2, if they're like, think about it, Loki's going to be focusing on Kang. Every show going forward needs to be having the biggest focus on Kang at the moment.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect way to introduce Moon Knight into the Avengers Kang Dynasty. And by the way, Moon Knight needs to be on the Avengers roster.
Yeah. I just can't wait for the next Spider-Man. I know you're gonna hate that I said that, but it's.
I'm so sick of you doing this Spider-Man crap, bro. You piss me off.
Nah, Spidey's the GOAT.
Dude, shut up. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Moon Knight to do. Comic Cuts is sucking off Spider-Man, but it's cool. But what's new? But what's new? But what's new?
Yo, Spidey is the GOAT. Everyone's gonna go crazy, and he's gonna lose his mind on Friday when the game comes out, and people don't stop talking about Spider-Man.
I'm going to play it. Like, I pre-ordered it.
I know you're gonna play it because you're a Spider-Man fan too.
I am. I just think that the gas of Spider-Man is so crazy. Like, okay,
nah.
I have good news. Other than Comic Cuts being like the biggest Spider-Man fan in history. I love guys. Look, I love Spider-Man. The issue is that all of my friends, all they talk about is freaking Spider-Man 24/7, and I'm like, bro, there's other heroes too. Like, my goodness. Oh God, all they talk about is Spider-Man. Okay, Wonder Man. Okay, got scrapped. Okay, Wonder Man got scrapped.
W.
I agree. This is great news. Or Comic Cuts, tell us why you think that like all this is amazing news.
I just don't like the word wonder. And I think people misuse it.
I forgot you hate that word.
Everyone's like, "Oh, that's wonderful." Like, no, it's not. You're not wondering about that shit. No, but I never liked Wonder Man. I always thought he was whack and corny, and you know, whenever he shows up in a comic, I'm just like, why is this guy here? He's not
Yes,
interesting.
exactly. He was being played by a great actor, Yaha Abdul Mateen II. He plays Black Manta in Aquaman. I really like his acting. He was a little cringe in Aquaman 1, but I do think he's a good actor. But man, use him for something else. Don't make him T'Challa, please. But use him for something else in the MCU. I think he could be like a great Nightmare. I think he could be a great villain. I'm gonna use him as something. But I mean, the Wonder Man project is another useless project. Like, you didn't introduce this character in the movies. Why would you just make a random show and think fans are just going to watch it?
Yeah. And like, whether you agree with me about the word wonder, like Wonder Man is a pretty whack ass name. Seriously,
You really don't like it,
bro.
I like Wonder Woman.
It sounds better with Wonder Woman.
I think Wonder Man's a dope character. Like in comics, I think you hate it, bro.
Nah, he's so corny, and
Nah,
he was in the Kurt Busiek Avengers run, and you know how much I hate that shit. I hate Kurt Busiek's comics. I think he's the worst writer of all time, and that run was super trash.
But I first saw Wonder Man in the animated show, so I'll send you a link and let you watch it. It's pretty dope.
Which animated show?
I think it's the Avengers,
not Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
It might be either that or it's on, or one of the Spider-Man. It's on something. But I remember when I first saw him and I was like, oh, he's kind of dope. Not saying he's the best character, but it was cool. It was cool. Okay. Now Hulk. Okay. I know you had some stuff to say about the Hulk. I'm gonna read the chat about the Hulk because I know you said it earlier. King's variants. All right, get your stuff off about the Hulk. But wait. Before you do that, let me just say this. The rumor is there's a Hulk solo movie in the works, and they want to bring back Rage Hulk. The floor is yours.
So here's the thing about the Hulk. Like, the Hulk's comics, the best Hulk comics work well because they're not soloed around the Hulk. Like, for example, Planet Hulk, where the Hulk causes so much destruction that the Avengers send Hulk to another planet and he takes over that planet. Cool story, dope comic, but first of all, I don't think Mark Ruffalo does such a great job as the Hulk, and I think that he's gotten away with it for so long because he is a shared universe movie villain. You know, they call him in on an Avengers movie and, you know, stuff like that, and other than that, you know, they push him to the side. And I think that's the perfect way to handle Mark Ruffalo's The Hulk. I don't think they should do anything anymore with him. I don't think they should give him a solo movie. I think the character has always been overrated. And, you know, if they want to make like an Avengers type of like, you know, movie and call it, you know, Avengers Planet Hulk, I'm fine with that. I don't think they'd do that because they're already doing Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Why the hell would they do you know, Planet Hulk movie? But like, I don't think the character is that good in the comics. I don't think Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk is interesting, whether it's Professor Hulk or not. And I think, listen, save him for when you need an extra strong character or a smart character in a movie. But like, they shouldn't be giving this guy any additional spotlight, let alone his own solo movie. Damn.
Okay, so I am not against it if it links to more things, because I do believe that you can use a Hulk to catapult other projects. I think people would go see a Hulk project, but it has to be clear communication that the Rage. Yeah, there has to be clear communication that the Rage Hulk is back. You know what I mean? And there also has to be more to the story, like a Hulk versus Wolverine storyline, like something like that. I think that would get fans involved. Like when you do the Hulk, it has to be one of the popular one-off stories. You know, if I'm a writer, I will go Hulk versus Wolverine. I think that would be one of the dopest stories that you could possibly do. And I think that you can use that movie to link to like other plots and, you know, other things to do. You know what I mean? I feel like if you made a Hulk just straight off of like the strength of She-Hulk and all that stuff, I'm not sure if that will work. Now, I think she should be involved in it, and I believe that She-Hulk can get redeemed in the movies. Like, and I believe that firmly. If you get the right director in that room, she can be redeemed to be actually taken as a serious character, and she will be, because there's not going to be a lot of screen time for her, because she's not going to be like a, you know what I mean? She's not going to be like a worthy like character to be on the screen. Because and I do like the actress of She-Hulk. They just didn't put her in the right position. So yeah, I think that a Hawk Solo movie would be a really good thing to do. I'm not against it, but it has to be done right. And you got to get Professor Hulk out of here. And I liked Professor Hulk, but I do believe that they abused it.
Yeah.
Because Rage Hulk should have came back in Endgame. Rage Hulk should have gotten his revenge on Thanos. There's no reason why he shouldn't have done that. And I think that very thing kind of hurt Hulk as a character.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And plus, I kind of had a feeling that they were going to do a Solo Hulk based off of the fact that we're about to get a whole Thunderbolt Ross Red Hulk and freaking Captain America Brave New World. Yeah. Which is freaking awesome, by the way. Harrison Ford playing Red Hulk is literally like a dream. Like, it's like a lot of fans haven't been talking about how insane that is. That is a dynamite casting.
Yeah. No, that's fire. For sure.
Bro, it's gonna be so funny after we get Deadpool, Brave New World, and whatever movies come on next, and fans are gonna be back on the train. It's gonna be hilarious. And you and I are gonna be like, we've been here this whole time, baby, waiting, talking about it.
You know, I think there's an issue in like today's world and the internet where like sometimes things that are not good like become fashionable. And lately it's just been like the cool thing to do to shit on the MCU. And I don't think that it's always been so deserving of it. And I also think it's like easy and people kind of just, you know, chime in and are overly critical of movies. Like, I think people were way too harsh on Quantumania, and I think it suffered from this hive mind fandom.
I agree. And like, also to all the other creators out there, we watch you guys, and I've been seeing how you've all been trashing the MCU. So I'm be laughing when I see how you guys turn so quickly.
Yeah.
I also think that, I just saw one of my friends who have a TikTok. They're really saying like, I'm not really interested in the MCU. I'm in the Star Wars mind, which is cool. I understand, but like, as
when's the next
creators,
Star Wars project coming?
Yeah, right. But also as creators, like this is what Comic Cuts and I do, right? As much as we hate projects, some of these not hate, because we don't really hate any project like that. There's some that I hate, but not really. As much as we dislike a project, we will still talk about where it takes the story. It's all about the story. Even if a movie sucks, right? A lot of people didn't like Thor Dark World, but Thor Dark World drove the story, Yeah. So that's what matters at the end of the day. So that's where I'm at. All right. So we're going to end with Comic Cuts. Talk about some comics that you've read, comics that you think the listeners should read, and give some.
Yeah, what did I read recently? The new Avengers run is dope. I think I talked about it, but the Impossible City is like a really cool character. Spoiler alert, joins the Avengers after, the Avengers took on the Impossible City's team. It's really interesting. Jed McKay is writing it. It's pretty dope. There's also the Batman, the Gotham War. I think I spoke about it recently, but it's been getting so much better. Basically Catwoman, like she took on a bunch of henchmen from, Batman villains like Freeze, Joker, Penguin, and they, instead of, a lot of the more violent crimes, they rob. And what they do is they rob, but they don't really do anything else other than that. So Batman, the Bat family, ends up working with Catwoman because they're like, well, there's less crime, people aren't really dying, and spoiler alert, obviously, Batman hates it, and then someone does end up dying, and a kid becomes an orphan because of that death. It was like one of his parents, and Batman, obviously, that hit home for him, and he loses his cool. but he takes on the whole Bat family on his own, Catwoman too, because it's crazy. He's like to the Bat family, he's like, have I not taught you anything? You know, like our whole mission is against crime. You don't get to just pick which crime is acceptable and which isn't. You know, all of it isn't cool. You know, so it's really cool. And if you haven't been reading this current Batman run prior to that, you know, this guy Chip Zdarsky, man, you know, there's a new villain, Failsafe, it started out with, which was really cool. Then there was a really cool multiversal story arc where Batman ends up in a different universe. Man, it's awesome. And it's given Scott Snyder's Batman run a run for its money.
Bet. Good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
There's a couple comments on to read this. With the way the MCU is, with the way the MCU Hawk has been written, I don't know how you can go back to Savage Hawk running from the military, being feared, etc. without a soft reboot with a new actor. I disagree. You don't need Savage Hawk running from the military again. He could just come out anytime he wants and cause wreck. I mean, it's pretty simple. Not to mention, with the idea of the Red Hulk coming with Thunderbolt Ross, a perfect timing to bring Bruce Banner back. And Thunderbolt Ross is one of his main enemies. I mean, that'll be an easy way to piss off Rage Hulk. Not to mention, Rage Hulk has kind of been hiding in the background all this time. We know he wants to cause wreck. It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming. So there's definitely space for that. And for everyone that commented, chat, that's what I want you guys to understand. Some of you might like. I saw what you said, Dragon Train, that you think that the MCU is perfect the way it is and Hungry Almighty. You think that that a reboot is going to solve everything. Look, in the confines of what we have, there can always be change. Understand that. Changes can always be made. You just have to do it the right way. Dragon Train said, Batman versus Moon Knight. Batman all day, my brother. I'm sorry. I love Batman's goated.
Yeah. Like, not even a question, bro.
Yeah, Batman cooks all the way. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. The audio of this will be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So, you know, take a look at it. Give it some love. We love you guys. Man, let's talk about the views for the day, man. We're doing hella views today. I mean, and for the past like couple weeks. So keep growing us, man. Keep helping us grow our channel. You know, I put a lot of hours in on editing. Comic Cuts puts a lot of time and hours in onto this podcast. We be going hard, and it's not even a year yet that Comic Cuts has been on here, and we've grown. Let's just talk about the page since y'all are here. Think about this, guys. We were literally at 400 subs when the year first started. Today we are at 846. Last year I went from 200 subs to 400 subs. In a matter of a year, we doubled that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because
thanks to you.
Thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to all of you guys. So we're going to keep running up the pod. I'll keep doing breakdowns. Comic Cousins is going to keep doing the pod, and he's going to be getting some clips up soon too. So keep showing love, and we're always going to be doing this. So we love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Please like, subscribe, and peace out.